The Carolina Panthers fall to the Chargers and look completely lost. Let's talk about it. Hey folks, we are going lights out on this episode. I usually have the light above me. It is off because the Los Angeles Chargers, which of course are the Bolts and they've got the charge, came in and disconnected the power at Bank of America Stadium, even with a fan base that doesn't travel well. And to be honest, like when I was looking at this game, I was like, there's a good chance that, hey, they don't actually take over the stadium. They sure made an impact. That impact really doesn't matter because the problems that we have and the problems that we are going to be talking about today lie with Bryce Young. Folks, it is bad. It is terrible. It is every adjective that you can think of right now. We heard the boos coming down, raining on Bryce, raining on the team. And I know in the post-game presser that Dave Canales said he's going to ride with Bryce Young. There's not going to be a change. I know the players have said they're riding with him. He's QB1. But as a fan base, we have to question it. We have to question it. And folks, I've been as pro-Bryce as you can be without being a Bryce homer or wherever you designate the Bryce Young support. Like I've been as close to supporting him without kind of being in that crazy territory where some folks like to get, where they're just like every single thing about him is positive. I've been closer, but not that far. And after what we saw last Sunday, I went back, and folks, you can go out and watch. I put together 30 minutes worth of tape on him in the first half and breaking down his performance. And I saw issues, but at the same time, I also saw moments where I'm like, okay, maybe if this is in a lopsided game, maybe if it's a little bit closer, that some of the mistakes that were made can be corrected. And this game would have been a little bit closer. But we go out there today and it was a repeat. It feels like a repeat of last year. I don't understand how this team is this bad. And I also don't understand how Dave Canales can go on record and talking about wanting to challenge every position on the roster, every single position he wants to challenge. He has yet to challenge the quarterback of this team. And I understand it's a very tough decision when you sit in that seat to cut ties or pull the cord on the quarterback that's in there. But I think we're getting close, man. And it's funny, I'm asking fans right now, posting online, like, give me one reason why Bryce Young should start next week or even moving forward. And all the reasons that people say we should start is so that we can tank. People feel like Bryce Young is the driver in the driver's seat to help the Panthers tank at this point. That is how bad he is playing. He continues to miss simple plays that even last year, and they said it on the broadcast, that he would hit. I mean, just basic throws. Getting out in space, he is overthrowing. We saw the interception. We saw them not capitalize off of a turnover. Folks, I know this is going to be similar to last week where you just hear me talking about Bryce, but he is the main issue. He really is, and I don't know. It's deflating for a team that forces a turnover. You're in field goal range, and it's like, what, third and 4 and 5? I don't have it pulled up, but it was manageable to where even if you throw it away or don't gain anything, you're in field goal. Eddie can give you 3. I don't know I can't remember what the score was then, but it was closer. And Bryce Young rolls back out, goes back, takes a sack. And we continue to see it, and I really saw it when you go back and watch the All 22, watch whatever film, even watch the game. When the read is not there, he just loses it. And it's a mental thing right now. We can talk about whether or not he should have played last year. We really need to focus in on Bryce Young playing right now. And if he should be out there, here's the thing. If you want to be a competitive football team, which I know we do, you've got to give. I honestly just want to see Andy Dalton. And there's that meme out there like, I just want to see something, whatever it is. I just want to see if this is a Bryce thing or if we're just completely like that bad. And my senses are telling me that it's probably not now. I know Andy Dalton's another year older. He hasn't really played outside of the Seattle game last year, but even then he's thrown for the most passing yards on the team since Bryce has gotten here. Bryce not even sniffing that. If you are a fan of Bryce, I'm not trying to knock you by any means. I understand that you support him, and I do. I would love to see Bryce be successful and go out, put up a bunch of yards, throw a bunch of touchdowns, but it is week after week after week. And I know it has to be demoralizing for the team. Like, they're never going to go on record, at least not yet, and say that we need a change or they need to change a quarterback. It's not going to happen right now. It's too early in the season. A lot of jobs at stake. Dave Canales is riding with him. So you got to do that. But at some point, if you want to win football games and you really, it's frustrating. It's like, how do you not want to win? And how can you see this product going on the field and see where Bryce is as a player and not say, oh, now's a good time to make a decision to just change it up. Like, sit him down for a drive, for a series, for a half. Let's just get Andy Dalton out there. You have all that. And then on top of it, you have the misses, which we talked about. Believe it or not, Bryce Young was 18 of 26. So not terrible completion percentage. He threw for 84 yards and he was sacked twice. Offensive line, the one sack I'm going to put on him. The other one was a really good play by Bosa. 2 sacks though. 57.2 passer rating. Here I am trying to talk about how good Bryce is or better he is when he plays at home. I don't know, man. I don't know where this team goes, but we look at the jump passes and people kind of joke about it. I joked about it a little bit, but not really. We know he's short, but he continues to have to jump. He plays off his toes, and I heard them on the broadcast talk about Kyler Murray and Kyler Murray's style of play in comparison to Bryce Young. And it's different. Kyler Murray, who's having a pretty good year and a good start, plays on his feet, has a solid base. Bryce Young's on his tippy toes. He's jumping to make throws, and he did it 3 or 4 times, had one of them batted down. That's just not a recipe. Like, when you get to the NFL, it is the best of the best, and in each position, maybe outside of a running back, size is going to matter. Maybe a wide receiver. The size of the skill players, because Bryce Young is not that much better than the folks around him to where he could go out here regardless of, how things are and put up numbers. It's just not the same thing. And it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating for the fan base. It is. And the people that are coming to the games, which it's very limited right now, and appreciate the fans that are showing up and coming each day. I think it's only going to get worse. And I don't think this is a Canales thing. One thing I will say, Dave Canales is not tied to Bryce Young. He's never going to come out and say anything bad. But for me, you got 15 games left with Bryce. I think Bryce is going to be here next year unless, I haven't even gotten into the contract to see what the contract would look like if he's not here or if they can cut ties, if they could trade him. You got 15 games to really figure this thing out. And at that point, you're going to have to make a decision this offseason. I don't know who's a free agent. And I'm not even talking about getting a splash free agent quarterback. But you will have to make a decision to either draft another quarterback or draft a late quarterback and hope he can compete, or look at a veteran free agent. We know Andy Dalton, this is coming up on his time. Do you get a journeyman that's kind of bounced around, a Minshew, whoever it is, and at that point say, okay, we're going to bring in some competition? I don't know. It's frustrating, though. So the one interception, 12 yards was his longest pass. He cannot get the ball down the field. He can't. He is Mr. Checkdown. When you look at the receptions, the targets were to backs and to tight ends. The leading receiver in receptions was Chuba Hubbard with 4 for 12. Tommy Trimble, 3 for 23. Deontay Johnson had 3 for 15. Sanders, 3 for 5. Thielen, 2 for 20. I should say Miles Sanders, Davian Sanders, 2 for 8. It wasn't great, man. The rushing attack, which at times looked good. I mean, Chuba Hubbard comes out. He's averaging 6.4 yards per carry. Broke off the one really good run. 10 attempts for 64 yards. 23 was the long. But Bryce is just scared to throw the ball. He is scared to get the ball out. I don't understand it. And I don't know how you overcome that. I don't. I'm not a psychologist. I know his dad's a psychologist. But maybe there is benefit for him into going to a sports psychologist. But his time here, man, it's got to be coming to a close much sooner than we thought. And like I said, I would love for Bryce Young to go out there and completely prove us wrong, prove me wrong. It's not even about being right or wrong at this point. It's about having a football team. Like, we can talk about Dave Canales saying that it's going to take time to be us, to become us, whatever. Sure, for you, but there are players on this team, like this could be the last year. This could be their last snap. And it is a disservice to those guys not to try and get the most competitive football team out there and or see. Heck, even Plummer, and I saw someone say Plummer, throw Plummer in the mix. If you're not a fan of Andy Dalton, it was terrible. You can go back and look at the drive chart for the Carolina Panthers. One did not get a first down until let's see, into the second quarter. And I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes to go in the second quarter when they had their first down. Play chart. So in the first quarter, and I'm saying all this, hats off to the Chargers. Chargers executed the game plan, stuck to the run game, did what they were supposed to do. J.K. Dobbins went off. Quentin Johnston, freaking baller, man, beats J.C. Horn. Then J.C. Horn, we know, comes back with a pick. But I will be sure to tip my hat to the Los Angeles Chargers, not to mention the Bosemans who came down and executed. Hayden Hurst and then TJ Chark, who I know is on IR, but they did what they were supposed to do. They had a 3-and-out, 4 3-and-outs in a row. They did not get their first down until later. Like I said, into the second quarter with like 4 minutes to go. It's terrible. It is so bad. So you have 4 3-and-outs in a row. Then you have the Bryce Young interception. I mean, I cannot, folks. This team, I think they threw it up. I don't know how many days it's been since the Atlanta game. That's the last time that they led. And even then, I mean, they won as time expired. I don't know if they led during that game. It's hard to remember. Doesn't matter. The Panthers ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3-and-outs. Unacceptable. The interception, and then 2 turnover on downs. They only had 2 drives that were 6 or more plays. Time of possession, Chargers off the charts, 36 minutes to Carolina's 23. Field position wasn't that different, to be honest. It was the 35-yard line for the Chargers was their average on their 35. Panthers was their own 28. So not nearly as lopsided as it was against the New Orleans Saints. Speaking of the New Orleans Saints, how about them looking good? We saw a lot of missed tackles. Shaq Thompson did lead the way on the defensive side of the ball with 14 combined. That was 8 solo, 6 assists. Josie Jewell right behind him. Ashawn Robinson doing his thing. J.C. Horn, Fuller. I mean, the defense did as much as they could with what they were given. There was only so much that you could expect. Total net yards in the first half, 54 for Carolina, 204 for the Chargers. I mean, Bryce Young was 8 of 10 for 22 yards. The 1 interception, 39.6 passer rating. It was so bad, folks. I wanted to go down and look if they might not have posted this yet. Here we go. Longest plays. Carolina's longest play was Chuba Hubbard's run for 23 yards. They only had one play over 20 yards. had one for 12, one for 11. It's pathetic. This is bad. When your 10 longest plays are 23, 12, 11, 10, and 8, and then you get down to 7, 6, not good. On the other side, J.K. Dobbins with a 43-yarder run. You had a 30-yard play, which that was tacked on with the face mask with Ladd McConkey. Penalties, man. Sorry, you had a 29-15, various other. That's the other thing, man. Penalties, like this team is not disciplined. They're struggling, man. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know how you get it right. I think the ending was 9 penalties for 90 yards. Third down efficiency, the Panthers converted 1. They were 1 for 12. On the other side, the Chargers were 9 for 16. They didn't have a fourth down. Panthers were 1 for 3 on fourth. Total net yards was 159 to 349. I mean, you're not going to win a lot of games like this. I will say the J.C. Horn play where it looked like it was going to be an interception. Fumble, interception, confusing games, man, watching too much college football. But it did look like it was going to be a fumble recovered by the Panthers. That was unfortunate because, I mean, he really did catch the ball. He just didn't make a football move. He had the two feet in. That one stunk, man, because that felt like that could have been a potential momentum shift or swing for the Panthers early on in that game. And, I mean, they were punching at the ball, doing the things that they were supposed to do. I mean, Justin Herbert, stat line, let's go back. Take a look at his stat line. I mean, he was 14 of 20, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sacked 1 time for 0. 100 passer rating, though. Dobbins destroyed a 17 for 131 yards. Gus Edwards right behind him with 18 for 59. Tough day. Quentin Johnson leading the way with the 2 touchdowns. He had 5 receptions for 51. The second touchdown, he was just wide open, chilling. I don't know if it was a busted coverage. It didn't look good, man. I mean, there's really not a lot of positive. And you look at the Raiders who just knocked off the Ravens. Ravens, good football team. No one's over there worrying that the Ravens aren't going to be good. I'm like, dude, it's a long season. But still, going to be traveling now out to the Raiders. You got the Bengals. It's not a good stretch, man. And I don't know where a win comes. It does feel like a rinse and repeat of last year. I don't think they've done anything to really prove to us that this team is going to be better, that they're going to be closer to what they were. And it's frustrating to watch. It really is. Very tough day. I'm going to be back with a live episode, go into a little more detail, get your comments, your reactions as we go through this. But that's going to do it for this one. I want to get this out as quickly as possible. Until then, I'll see y'all later.